welcome to SheSight magazine's cover personality interview. Today, I have a fantastic, phenomenal personality with me. I'm so delighted and excited to even introduce her. She is, what to say, she is, we can't call her activist, but she is an artivist. That's what she likes to call herself. So art is a part of her activism. Now, you might be wondering, what is the activism that she works on? It is nothing other than rights of people and rights of those people who are marginalized by society. And specifically, I'm talking about the LGBTQ and transgender community. Now, there are a lot of people who might be working in this space, but this name you cannot ignore if you are from India, especially South India and Tamil Nadu. This name is a global phenomenon right now. She is traveling across the globe, spreading the messages and the awareness that is required in this segment of gender equality that she fights for. I'm so privileged and honored to welcome to this show Miss Kalki Subramaniam. Hello, Kalki.
Hi, Dr. Chandra. It's a pleasure to meet you. And thank you for inviting me for an interview on SheSight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So firstly, let me just, to get started with this interview. What I would, I'm so intrigued by this word artivist. Of course, that is something which we will have to talk in detail. But before we even go into that, what I would like to know is, where did it all start? I know your story and as a young adult or a young teen, how you evolved and how you decided to actually enter into this activism of helping other people in this segment.
I think it really started from my childhood. As a teenager, how I was bullied at school because of my gender, my gender expression, being born in one gender, but expressing your body language and the way you speak and everything is in the other gender. That is, I was born a boy, but I was so effeminate and feminine. And, in our society, we have such narrow clutches and clusters on gender. It's male and female, and male should be like, we have stereotypes about men, and then we have stereotypes about women too. So for them, I was different. And so anybody who is different is always eyed upon and in a way looked down or bullied. I certainly was bullied at school. And I know for a fact that all transgender or gender non-conforming children at school are bullied. And I was one of the I was one of them, I would say. I was one of them. But the bullying continued for entire school life.
Yeah.
That was the thing. And every day was really painful for me. I didn't have a very happy childhood. I did have till 5th standard, but after that, it was very difficult for me.
Was the bullying only in the school, or was it also part of your family, society, people, everyone near you?
Once in a while or something, a family member, someone, when I go for an event, family get together and all that, somebody from the family might actually bully. But otherwise, it is mostly the school, and also sometimes in the public as well. Somebody will pass on a comment and all that. But more than what I was going through, I had friends from the transgender community. Like, I was bunking school. I was, avoiding school. Yeah. And then I used to spend my time in forests and parks near my town, Pollachi, which is a very beautiful town in Tamil Nadu. So that's where I also found the transgender community. Okay. And I made friends with them. And I found so much of trauma in them, and also how they were exploited. One friend of mine was thrown away from her family and she went to Delhi. She became a sex worker. Another one went to Mumbai. She became a beggar. And I also saw another friend of me, Apsara Amma. She's still a good friend and a senior. Her brother tried to throw kerosene on her and burn her. And I've lost friends in suicide, and many of them have become, many of them have been trafficked to other places for begging and sex work. And this entire thing I've experienced, I've seen it, and I've also seen rape.
Yeah.
A friend of mine getting raped and no justice for her. And she died. In a year, she died of AIDS. So this is all I saw. And for me,
this was during your forming teenage years, or was it later?
During my teenage years, yes. So I grew up basically with a lot of anger, and I was very well determined, even in my childhood, that what do I want to be? I wanted to voice for our community and change our lives, my life, and people like me, our lives. I wanted to change. That's why I actually took up journalism and mass communication, because I have a huge voice.
Right.
So the journey started from there.
Wonderful. Now that brings to me the important question. You were talking about schooling, bullying, and the denial of opportunities for kids like you in their, forming age. How did you actually overcome that societal stigma, and how did you, end up actually getting a college admission? I mean, I remember those days, even getting a college admission would be very difficult. So can you tell us that journey also? Like, you how did you, of course, you decided to become a journalist, but was it an easy journey as well?
No, it wasn't an easy journey at all. I mean, I did suffer a lot in the college as well. In school, harassment and all that. In college, it was also sexual harassment. So I did face that too. And so many, I mean, those trans people who are out and open and effeminate people definitely face a lot of sexual harassment in when they study at school or in educational institutions. So I also faced that. I had to again fight for my place, fight for my dignity. It was difficult.
Yeah. I mean, this is a few years back, right? When you were doing this course, you did your education in Tamil Nadu itself, and definitely.
Yes, I did my education in Tamil Nadu. Yes.
And of course, I understand the kind of societal stigma towards the community as well as. So, what the point what I wanted to discuss further is the impact of education on your community. And I think that is one area definitely you are also working with your Sahodari Foundation, right?
Yes.
And how you think education can transform the life of transgenders.
I believe that education can definitely enlighten and give a new life for our community. I truly believe in that. I mean, it has given me the power, and education gives you not only just the knowledge, it also gives you the power to change your own life and to change others. I think in that way, I was empowered, but many of my friends were not. Why I could do it was because my parents accepted me. Family acceptance is such an important part of anyone's, mental well-being and social well-being. So for me, I had that while my friends could not get it. Basically, many of my friends were not accepted by their families, so they had to run away. Even when they were at school, they had to run away from their homes and start a new life on their own. That's how it was. So basically, many of my friends are school dropouts from the transgender community. So only if they had a chance to educate themselves, to study them, complete a school education and university education, their lives would have changed so much. Yes.
Exactly. I understand that. So talking about family, what do you think are the differential factors when it comes to your family? You said that your family have been supportive compared to other families, So what do you think they are all contemporaries anyway. So, but still, what is the difference? How do you think your parents are, special in that way? Or what made that difference with your parents?
I think my parents, especially my mother, saw me as a child of
Mm,
her
yeah,
rather than a
exactly.
boy or a girl.
Yeah.
That was basically the difference. She didn't look, I mean, for her, gender wasn't important. She
Yeah.
wanted me to be happy and safe, and that's all mattered to her. Me being
Excellent.
a boy or a girl,
Mm,
or whatever transition happens, that wasn't important for her. That was important, but then uh, that wasn't being a boy wasn't a pride thing for
mm.
her. Yes,
That's wonderful. I mean, that's the crux of what we need to pass on to the society. It's all about, you know, uh, as a parent, sometimes every parent is under the pressure of, trying to look at what the society wants and trying to fit into the societal norms. Instead of that, if you look at what the child is and what the child's happiness lies in, I think that's where we can evolve as a society which is inclusive and supportive of each other, right? All right.
totally true.
Yeah. So now let's get into a little bit more about your work life and your story of how you founded the Sahodari Foundation. I mean, you said about your journalism education from there. How did you become a nonprofit founder and all those journey?
After completing my master's degree in journalism and mass communication, uh, meanwhile, I was also looking at how the media was projecting our trans community. I mean, it wasn't projecting at all.
Yeah.
It was only false information,
Mhm.
stereotyping, a lot of transphobia is what I was seeing
Even in
in
films, I think transgenders are mostly depicted in a very wrong as well as comical manner, or so
absolutely.
that
I
all
mean,
influences the people.
yeah, a lot of the negative images, negative information, propaganda, comic relief.
Mm,
Uh, for comic relief, transgender people were used
correct.
shamefully.
Mm,
It was all there. So basically, I started a magazine,
mhm.
just 200 copies.
Okay.
In our district, I started all the everybody, nobody. I mean, what to say? Like all the writers in the magazine, reporters in the magazine, everyone was from the transgender community,
Wow.
and
Amazing.
everyone was working. Everyone worked for free.
Wow. Okay.
Basically, we volunteered to
Mm,
write.
mhm,
So we wrote about mental health, physical
mm,
health,
mm.
job opportunities. We wrote about beauty and health. We also wrote a lot of gossip so that people will be interested to read more and more.
Okay.
And we wrote about epics,
Mm.
stories from the Mahabharata and Ramayana. So
Wow.
it was full of,
Was this in Tamil?
it was in Tamil, yes, it
Okay.
was in
Okay.
Tamil.
Okay.
So it was so interesting for them, like it became quite popular among our transgender community.
Wonderful.
And this distribution actually happened through another NGO at the time. It was called NMCT. NMCT.
Mhm,
Yeah, that was the organization that helped us to give the magazines for free
mhm.
and distributed the magazines. Basically, they
Okay.
printed and distributed.
Mm,
So it was really making a change among the community, and also
mm.
we also gave the magazine to salons. I mean, haircut places.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
so it was not only read by trans people, it was also read by men.
Yeah. Okay.
Someone comes to cut their hair and then they have to wait and then they pick up magazines and one of
Mm.
the magazines was ours.
Okay.
So they'll go through it.
Yeah.
So it was also changing people's mindsets
Interesting.
a little bit
Mm,
because it's only 200 copies, not 20,000 or 2 lakhs.
mm.
But it was making a change. So I got an idea suddenly, why shouldn't we start an organization and do more? Writing a magazine is fine, but as an organization, I can do a lot for our community, I thought. So that's how Sahodari Foundation was initiated in 2008.
Wow, wonderful. So since then, I'm sure you've been working a lot in this direction. And I understand you were also one of the key activists or the lobbyist for the transgender rights, which was, granted by the Supreme Court of India in 2014. Would you
Yes,
like
the
to share
legalization.
some, what do you call, activism or some activities that you had to do, or, what are the challenges you faced in that journey? I think it is a
I think for
phenomenal
any
outcome,
community,
Yeah.
yeah, for any community's gender justice, I think the legal rights is so important.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court of India legally recognizing our community was so important, because that would pave the way, open the doors in all venues across all levels of the society. So, and I think for a very, very long time, for more than 200, 300 years, after the arrival of the British and the colonization and their, especially the law that they passed, especially the Criminal Tribes Act of 1873,
Correct.
which criminalized the transgender community. Because of all this, the trans community has been totally marginalized. And to empower the community, the Supreme Court's intervention and legalization was important. So basically, I worked with the state government of Tamil Nadu, and also with the National Legal Services Authority also. And the Chief Justice of India, Altamas Kabir sir, was a good friend of mine as well. So basically, I had an opportunity to sensitize the Chief Justice of India and the lawyers and the Supreme Court. Yeah, to influence and inspire, and to more than just an influence and inspiration.
To educate, probably.
To educate and tell them the truth, what is going on with our community and how they can make a change in our lives. And Mr. I think Honorable Chief Justice Altamas Kabisa was so moved. Within a few months, on behalf of NALSA, they filed a public litigation in the Supreme Court in favor of seeking legal recognition for the transgender community.
Excellent.
So for that aspect, I have worked with the Supreme Court judiciary, and also sensitized a lot of Supreme Court judges, High Court judges, District Court judges. Till today, I'm doing it.
I mean, I would say this is like a, what do you call it? This is like a moving the mountain, because I know how difficult it would have been to even talk about these things and, to ask for rights. I mean, at the same time, it's very painful that we human beings are being, subjected to so much of discrimination that we have to fight back.
Absolutely.
Now, of course, you fought, and now what is the scenario like? Do you think these legal, rights, as well as all the activism that various organizations have been doing in this domain, do you think it has an impact on the society? What do you think the younger generation, are they more receptive or accepting to all of this? What is your perception? Has it changed? I mean, after all,
a lot, I would say, yes. Our continuous battle for equality and gender justice has definitely opened many doors, and also we see so much of change. For example, in the academics, actually, especially in the universities and many universities and colleges have started in gender studies. There is inclusive education on transgender studies as well.
Okay.
That's one thing. But beyond that, it's open for transgender students. Many universities are open for transgender students to study openly. Transgender students are accepted. And in fact, for in many universities across India, the fee for transgender community is waived, because because for more than a century we have been downtrodden. So to empower us, the universities actually offer free education for our community. And in some colleges and universities, there are transgender people working as technical staff, as lecturers, and also sometimes as professors, of course.
Yeah.
Openly trans women work as professors. That was only one sector. But when it comes to corporates, many companies are now open to LGBTQI inclusion, especially transgender inclusion.
Right.
And it's easy now to open a bank account. A lot has changed. Even Bollywood and Tamil cinema, Malayalam cinema, all that has changed. The narratives has changed from comic relief and shameful depictions to true depictions. I mean, characters that are created in a more human perspectives are created. So I would say cinema, education, legal rights, and corporate jobs, employment. In all the avenues, we have made a change. Coming to the government, through our activism, we have constantly barged the government, fought with the government for more rights and recognition. So the Transgender Protection Act was passed in the parliament a couple of years ago. And Kerala has a transgender policy. Tamil Nadu is going to bring an LGBTQI inclusion policy. And many states around the country have transgender welfare boards. So these are some of the results and impacts of the recognition of transgender communities' rights by the Supreme Court of India.
Wonderful. I think that is these are all big societal change as well. It's like inclusivity. What I feel is all about not considering, but it's about being a part of the family. It's like being included into the system, into the mainstream society. It's not like okay, you belong here, so you can be part of this. So not like that. So in that way, I think, as you rightly said, I also seen a lot of transition in, especially in cinemas. There have been a couple of very good movies which talk about, the pains of being a transgender and how they have, they are facing struggles and other things. So I think that also educates the masses. Cinema and art definitely is a medium, I believe, can educate the masses on these issues. So now that brings to me my next question is about your artwork. I know that you are a wonderful artist, a poet, and you have already released a couple of poetry books which are talking about the lives of transgender. So I would like you to touch upon and tell us about your art journey.
Okay. Basically, my art journey began at my very young age. Especially during my teenage years when I used to escape school. As I said, I used to hide in parks and then take the pen and paper and visualize who I wanted to be in the future. That's how it started. It started with joy and hope and all that. And till today, art has remained a medium for me to express my joy, hope, and everything. While poetry was much more stronger. I used the same pen and paper to write poetry about the agony, trauma, anger, fear, again, hope and everything, rejection and all that. A lot of pain and anger I express through my poetry. So writing, I have been using writing to express my negative emotions, but still seeking justice, while painting is mostly about our lives, the joyness of it, the beauty of it, the hope about it, the light in being a trans person. And also sometimes I also express pain and anger through art. Yes. And you said about my book. Yes, I've published 2 books. One in Tamil, it's called Kuriyarutain. It's a collection of my Tamil poems. And the other book is in English. It's called We Are Not the Others.
Yeah,
So the othering is very common.
correct.
All marginalized communities face this. So I just wanted to establish that we are not the others.
Wonderful.
We
I
are the
love the
same.
title. I
Thank
mean, it's
you.
so bold. I mean, both the titles, in fact, both are very bold and talks about exactly what you want to convey in that. Yeah,
Yes.
wonderful.
And also this book, the English book particularly, is a collection of my poetry,
Mhm.
my monologue, essay, and
Mhm.
also all the artwork in the poetry book is also mine.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay,
yeah, it's
wonderful.
available in Amazon across India and US and Canada and UK and everywhere.
Sure. We will share that link, Amazon buying link, to the end of this video, definitely.
Okay,
I think more
great.
and more people should read these kinds of books and learn about different kinds of people in the world. And that's when we also, every human being also has to evolve in their life. And that's how we develop, right?
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
Now, coming to your artwork again, there was a project which you initiated called the Red Wall Project. What is that about?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Red Wall Project is basically the voice of the voiceless,
Mhm.
an opportunity for a transgender community to speak about the sexual violence they may have faced
Mhm.
or they are facing in their life. Basically, for trans people and non-binary people, we face a lot of harassment right from our childhood,
Mhm.
but some of that is also sexual violence we
Mhm.
face. Almost every transgender person, at least once, has been abused.
Mhm.
So I want them to open about that and write it. For many trans women, they don't have an opportunity to talk about it.
Right.
But I encourage them to speak about what happened to them,
Mhm.
how did they feel, and ask them to write their experience. And also when they write the perpetrator, the abuser, we encourage them to write the real name,
Okay.
not not any pseudonym or anything else.
Yeah. Mm.
So that has been it. And then all these testimonials on the test once they write it on the testimonial, their palms are painted red and they print a
Mm.
red impression to show
Okay.
resistance against violence. And
Mm.
what we do is we collect all the uh, documents, testimonials from our trans people,
Mhm.
and we enlarge it, and then we put it on galleries and universities and colleges
Yeah.
for young people to read it and understand what kind of violent incidences happen to trans people and why it is important to be non-violent and encourage others to be inclusive when it comes to transgender community.
Excellent. So, is this project still on, or was it only a single project? Like,
No, it's an ongoing project. Of course, we
okay.
have interviewed more than 500 transgender people,
Wow.
and still we are continuing to do it.
Excellent. I think one of the biggest feminist movements or women rights movements that has happened in the past few years was the Me Too movement. You know that, right?
Yes,
So,
yes,
so
yes.
similarly, I think this is a subsegment which of the Me Too of the general. I mean, of course, women across the globe have all these issues, and talking about transgender specifically and sharing the violence that, as you said, every person having some kind of an incident, and I'm sure it will be all traumatic, and it would also lead to a lot of mental health issues, right? So what do
It's
you
it
want to
totally is traumatic.
yeah. So, what do you want to talk about, or rather, share some insights about the kind of mental struggle that transgender community faces, and why is it important that good mental health and healing is provided to them, and what are the actions that are happening in that domain?
Well, I think mental health is such an important topic, and mental wellness is so important for
Yeah.
everyone, especially for the trans community, which has gone through a lot of suffering and trauma because of their gender identity. I think many transgender people fall into the prey of depression, suicide, and many do commit suicide as well. And many of them are
You've heard a lot
to,
of such stories. Very young, vibrant activists, as well as even artists and such transgenders. Even I think last year there were a couple of suicides in the media. It was reported about transgender communities. So
yes,
it's
absolutely,
it's
because
a real
people are
struggle.
unable to, our community is unable to cope with it. There is no help, or they don't seek help. And also at the existing discrimination at all levels. And sometimes it's also the betrayal of a partner could be one of the reasons, but mostly it's depression. I would say it's definitely depression. So for intervening into their mental health and making sure they are healthy is important. So we try to provide them counseling sessions, and that's why basically in my website also I've put my number, our number, to make sure that we are accessible. If they wanted to speak, we are accessible. And also besides that, we do a project also called the Torikai project, through which we offer free art and craft workshops. And some of these workshops are also blended with healing with the arts program and all that. So basically that also helps them to relieve the pain and, helps them to be balanced for their mental health, good mental health. Yeah. So, but importantly, psychiatric intervention is so important.
Correct.
So we also, when somebody seeks help, we also facilitate that. Yeah.
Excellent. And I think this is also quite relevant during the transition phase, right? When someone actually decides to even undergo the transition. And a lot of medical procedures are also involved in that. And all that leads to a lot of mental health disturbance to these individuals. So I think, as you rightly said, probably there should be more of these activities and initiatives to help people in that segment. I think mental health for transgenders. And now coming to talking about, we spoke about the livelihood, we spoke about education, we spoke about mental health. Now coming to what actually happened during the pandemic. Do you think pandemic as well as the lockdown and other things have led to any difficulties to the community, and if what were the coping mechanisms that are being taken?
I think it was truly horrible. The pandemic really affected our transgender community's lives, their livelihood, their place in the society. Particularly, many transgender people are actually, their livelihood depends on begging and sex work.
Correct.
And the lockdown and disabled them to move in a way, whether it's going for begging or doing sex work. It was everything was put a full stop. And basically they suffered a lot for their food, for their daily meals. They suffered. So basically the free rations given by the NGOs and private donors, free food and clothing and other groceries. So they were depending fully for more than 1.5 years. They were depending on other people, NGOs, social workers, government, for all the relief material and donations. And that is how the community actually survived. We also lost quite a few transgender people in Corona. And when the community was in relief camp or in hospitalization, many of them also faced discrimination. So it was very difficult for our community. Yes.
Yeah, it's quite understandable, because even normal, during the COVID time, I think a lot of people, everyone lost their jobs, sitting inside the home, and talking about transgender community and their livelihood getting affected. It's really sad. And
yes.
Do you think there were specific, as you said, of course, food was provided, but
Yes.
what are the rehabilitation or rather livelihood works, if at all, that are being done right now to help them get back again to their
I
jobs
think
or
there is a
livelihood?
lot of entrepreneurship initiatives
Mhm.
uh, by many community-based organizations are now uh, in association with, in tie-ups with corporates. They are There are jobs that are available for graduates and also for school completed transgender people,
Mm,
and in the hospitality sector as well.
mm,
Jobs are available for transgender people. Many corporate companies are coming forward to provide jobs. Apart from that,
mm.
the CSR funding provided by some of the uh, multinationals are helping our community to start entrepreneurship initiatives, a
Wonderful.
business, a food cart, and all that. The government of Tamil Nadu and the government of Kerala and other governments across India, a few governments,
Yeah,
not all of them, are
yeah.
also trying to help the transgender community by encouraging them to,
Small
start some
businesses.
kind of entrepreneurship business. So it's
Wonderful.
going but the truth is, that could be 10 to 20%, but majority of them are still begging and sex work, doing sex work. So there is much more to do. A lot has to be changed.
So, what are the major entrepreneurial segments? And for if someone is watching the show, do you also like to share some resources that they can connect with in order to start a small business? Because I think even for common people to raise capital and other things, it is difficult. So I'm sure transgender would be facing a lot of challenge in raising capital to start these things. So would you like to share some resources on that end?
I don't have many resources, but I think the government of the Indian government provides MSME, Ministry of Small Scale Industries and
Yeah.
Small Scale and Medium Scale Industries. Through that,
Hmm.
they provide a lot of initiatives, entrepreneurship initiatives, and encouragement through seed funding and all that.
Yeah.
In Tamil Nadu, we have Stand Seed,
Okay.
which actually provides seed funding for startup companies. In every other states like Telangana and in Kerala, governments encourage transgender people and other communities to, especially young people, to
Start up
do
something.
startups and fund it. So it's a lot interesting.
I know.
The scene
I think there
is
should
quite
be a lot
interesting,
more trust and initiatives on that end. I'm aware
and also a lot of
of an
mentorship is also very important.
exactly because running a business is like it is quite difficult even for
Yeah, of
everyone. And then
course,
yeah,
of course, of
and
course.
I'm aware of a non-profit organization based in Delhi. It's called Connecting Dreams Foundation. They do a lot of skilling work and livelihood work, and also small business support for transgenders in that region, like Delhi, Gurgaon, those regions.
Okay, okay,
Um, yeah, in fact, SheSight also had featured a lot of such success stories in our magazine. So
wonderful.
yeah. Anyway, it's good that people are uh, doing and not just talking but doing something in this domain. And I would like to know what is your next project and what is it that you want to do more in this domain and what are your future initiatives?
I wanted to start. I mean, personally, I'm going to bring my third book, and I also am going to uh, launch my clothes line. Um,
Wow.
I'm I'm and I'm actually making my art in clothes like scarves and saris and a lot. I mean,
That will be wonderful.
transferring art to clothes line. So I've made some saris and scarves and all that, and they have come very beautifully. And some of these I will also be bringing to the US, wearing them and all that.
Wow.
So once I'm back from, basically I'm going to launch my clothes line in the US,
Uh-huh.
but I'll be doing all the merchandise and other stuff only
Mm.
when I come back. I'm just
Excellent.
taking a couple of saris and going to wear them in the US and launch them and start my
Excellent. Now
business.
you're talking about US. Tell us what is your work, or rather, I know you are going to talk in various universities. Would you like to share that
Yes.
also?
Yes, yes. In 2017, Harvard University invited me
Hmm.
to speak at the India conference, which was
Right.
organized by the Harvard Business School.
Hmm.
And after that, I think it's only now that
Yeah.
I've been invited
Hmm.
by a US school. So
Okay.
basically, I'll be speaking at Yale.
Hmm.
I'll be speaking at Stanford.
Hmm.
The date is yet not confirmed.
Okay.
But Yale, I'll be speaking on October 11th, and then
Hmm.
University of Pennsylvania and Rutgers University,
Hmm.
and of course Stanford University. And
Excellent.
all these universities, I'll be traveling across the US.
Hmm.
And also, I'll be going to Las Vegas and Los Angeles. At Las Vegas, and speaking at Out and Equal Work Summit, in
Hmm.
which I speak about uh, the power of art and social change.
Hmm.
And so it's an exciting trip,
Yeah.
but a very, what to say, I'll be traveling like a messenger,
Hmm.
spreading love and gender justice and equality and inclusion across the US.
Excellent. I think that's quite inspiring. And what I adore about your life journey is that you never succumbed to what the society would have done, the damages, all the difficulties and challenges that you have faced as a teen, as well as a young adult, and in this role. I think
I've been
your
damaged.
persistence
I've
and
been truly damaged. I've been traumatized, damaged, and I've been depressed and all that.
Mm.
But there is a strong willpower in me. I would say I developed it to raise because I always seek happiness.
Yeah.
I don't submerge myself into um, sadness. Of course, for months or even for an year, I could be depressed, but I come back. I come back and I work even more harder. I wanted, yeah. So I learned my lessons and never repeat the mistakes and go on and on.
So, what is the message that you want to give to specifically to transgender community and generally to women community?
To the women, I wanted to say that it's important to voice. When injustice happens to you,
Yeah.
You have to stand up, and there are many ways of standing up. Um, if you can fight, and when it is impossible to fight, you can write about it, paint about it. You can. There's a lot of ways
Sing
that you
about
can
it.
get involved in. Yeah, sing about it, dance about it. There's so many ways that you can actually contribute. You can speak about. But one thing is, never keep your pain inside.
Mm.
Never collect it and keep it.
Mm.
Just flow it like a river and throw it outside.
Yeah.
That's so important. Just move on.
Mm.
Don't get saturated and cut off all the toxic people from your life.
That's something which I also talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now coming to transgenders, what is the message that you want to give to them?
Well, to the transgender community, I just wanted to tell them that good times are coming.
Yeah.
So hope is there. We are getting more and more recognition, and we'll be equal. We are equal, and we will get our gender justice. There will be a day when certainly, if not we, at least the next generation and the next generation will enjoy and reap the benefits of all the sufferings and all the activism that we do. Particularly to the young transgender people, I wanted to say that get educated, don't feel miserable because you're bullied. There are so many other ways of getting a degree and all that. So never stop. Pursue knowledge. Enlighten yourself. Break the darkness.
Excellent. I think Yeah, that's the crux of the entire talk, I would say, because you yourself are the role model of how a transgender, I mean, every person, it's not just transgender. I would say every person facing some challenge or difficulty in their life, they have two choices, that's what I also believe. The choice is, one choice is to sit and cry and be a victim and then traumatized and, such thing. That is one reaction. The other reaction is to actually look at the challenge as an opportunity to evolve, not just yourself but also to the rest of the people in that arena. So what you did to your life
Yes.
is actually so inspiring, as well as a role model for other transgenders as well. I would say not just transgenders, for everyone, where your challenge and your trauma has become a beacon of light for many, many people, right? So I think that's
Thank
a
you.
wonderful life lived, and I'm so privileged and delighted to have you on this program today. One last question. Is there any other cause that you are really passionate about other than transgender rights and the
Yes,
gender?
I'm very interested and I'm passionate about climate change and
Okay.
environment.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I mean, I love nature and
Okay.
I've grown up with nature. Nature has healed me so much,
Mm.
and I cannot accept destruction of
Okay.
our earth.
Correct.
And so I'm basically so much involved right from my childhood. I've been so involved in it, but
Mm-hmm.
now I'm so much involved in climate change that
Excellent.
even how transgender people are affected
Mm.
by climate change is one of the topics I speak about, I write
Mm-hmm.
about. Just last week, I mean, a few days ago, I had a program, Gender and Climate Change.
Okay.
In Coimbatore, I organized a program and we spoke about
Wonderful.
how climate crisis, uh, the effect of, the effect of climate crisis, how does it impact
Mm.
the lives of transgender people? How does it destroy the lives of transgender people?
Mm.
Is a program that we conducted. So
Mm.
basically, uh, climate crisis and climate change is something I'm so interested in.
Yeah. So, I mean, because you organized the event, I want one more add-on question. What are the
Yeah.
changes? I mean, what are the difficulties do you think transgenders are facing, or rather, what exactly is the connect between climate change and transgender? What did you find
So
out in that?
much, so much.
Mm.
For example, in 2015, there was Chennai floods, and many of them lost their homes because transgender people live uh, in the slums. They live
Yeah,
in the slums
correct.
near the water bodies, which are like basically uh, these are like garbage waters running
Yeah.
across the city. So they basically live near those slums. In the slums, low level, below sea level is where they live. And they also live in fishermen coves and all that. Wherever there is acceptance and wherever there is poverty, their transgender community lives. So basically, when there is a heavy rain, their houses are washed away and all their properties and everything is washed away. They become homeless. Basically, hundreds of transgender people become homeless during the floods, heavy rains, and also during pandemic. Also, it was same. Trans community was one of the most affected communities. So climate change definitely affects our communities.
Mm.
One example is like one of my friend Kartika. She started. Food stall in Chennai on the roadside. So the Chennai floods basically washed away her food stall, and since that day she could not start an entrepreneurship initiative. She resorted to begging since then. So for the past few years, she is just begging. Yeah, which obviously gives money. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, now I get it. So, climate change, I think, definitely, what do you call it, impacts every human being on the planet. And I am also personally working on sustainability studies over
Yes, but the
here.
marginalized are the most affected by it. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. And I think I'm sure you would be again coming out with some more initiatives in that domain and helping more people, uplift themselves. Um,
Totally, yes.
yeah, because that's what I have seen in people like you. I've met a lot of inspiring personalities like you who are it's like you come out with new ideas and new ventures to solve critical problems, big problems, and that's wonderful. And we need more and more change makers like you. So on that note, I would like to
Thank
thank
you.
you for your time, as well as I would like to wish you more and more success, as well as more and more wonderful creative avenues to express and help more people, especially the community that you are working with. And I'm sure, as you said, days are coming when future is going to be much brighter. When I talk to teen kids today, at least they are far more educated and aware and more inclusive, I would say. Like my daughter is
Yeah,
a teen.
totally. I agree with that.
She is, they both are like, I have two kids, both of them are teen kids, and both of them are quite aware of these kinds of things. And they say that I don't know why old generation people are like this, but we are, accommodative, or rather we are quite inclusive with all of this. In fact, my daughter has a very close trans friend, actually. So she's also like, nowadays the kids are becoming more inclusive, and they talk about bullying and other things. They are more sensitized, and but it has to be done more and more. So I think
Totally, yes.
all the work that you have done in the past, and not just you, many others have done in the past, will definitely influence the coming generation, and when we have to continue to do it. So on that note, I think we will wind up this wonderful chat. I mean, there is a lot more we can continue talking, because we have so much of interesting similarities and works that we do. So, but maybe on our next episode. So thank you so
Sure.
much for your time, and I wish you all the very best for all your initiatives that you are going to take up. And it will be amazing to catch up again, maybe a few months or years later, and on the latest updates. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Chandra, for this beautiful interview, and thank you for that beautiful questions. I really enjoyed, and it's an opportunity for me to share the concerns of the community, and also to share my life and the journey of activism. I hope it inspires a lot of people. And yeah, truly thankful to you and to SheSight. Thank you.
Thank you.